say give him about 20 minutes or 20 seconds. Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes would be a long time, wouldn't it? That's it anyway. I think we're good. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our June 14, 2022 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Robinson, Master Barger. Here. Master Tudor. Here. Master Baca. Present. Judge Taylor.
Here, and just to let the court know that Ben couldn't be here today. He's under the weather. He's actually in quarantine, so and he told me it was okay to let everybody know that he's not. So just be thinking about him as he's getting better over a little bit of a sickness. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Jeff Duncan from Ugly Cross Cowboy Church up to lead us in a word of prayer. Appreciate you being here today, sir.
Thank you all. I want to say it is an honor to be here. Thank you all for the invitation, and thank you all for all that you do. You know, the Bible tells us to be not weary in well-doing, but I know sometimes you all get weary in your service, and I do appreciate that and appreciate all that you do. I know sometimes I get weary also, especially when you deal with the public. Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you so much for the privilege to be gathered here this morning, for the invitation. Thank you so much for all of these folks that are here and all that they do. Father, we know that the world out there has no clue most of the time of what they do and the time they spend. But Father, we want to thank you for that and for the calling that you've placed upon their heart, the desire to serve our community. We thank you for that. Father, we just ask that each one of us, each one that's here, maybe those that are not here that couldn't make it, Father, that they would be blessed this day. Father, that each one of us, first and foremost, before we make any decision, would look to you for guidance and for leadership and for hope. Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon Madison County, for Father, for allowing us to be a Christian county for the most part, for being, Father, able to stand and proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ wherever we go. Father, we thank you for your Son Jesus that died on the cross for the remission of our sins. And once again, we just ask that you'd put your hand upon each one of these kind folks. Father, strengthen and encourage them. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
Number one, would you please stand and face our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you, Sheriff. Members of the court, y'all had a chance to look over our previous fiscal court meeting, which was on May the 24th. At this time, I need a motion and a second to approve.
Motion to approve minutes as presented to us, Judge.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Master Baca.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Our treasurer's report will be at our next fiscal court meeting. It's always on the fourth Tuesday meeting schedule. Today, first order of business is a proclamation. Recognize our National Flag Week. We have some guests with us today, so we really appreciate you all being here. Whereas the Second Continental Congress adopted the American flag on June 14th, 1777. And whereas June 14th, 2022 marks 245 years of displaying our American flag. And whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize Old Glory as a symbol of hope, inspiration, and pride for the people of the United States and around the world. And whereas in order to commemorate the adoption of our flag on August 3rd, 1949, the Congress, by joint resolution, designated June 14th of each year as Flag Day and requested that the President issue an annual proclamation designating the week in which June 14th occurs as National Flag Week and call upon citizens of the United States to display the flag during that week. And whereas the Jemima Boone Chapter National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution is hereby recognized for its ongoing efforts to honor and support National Flag Day and Week. And now therefore I, Reagan Taylor, Madison County Judge Executive in the Madison County Fiscal Court, do hereby proclaim the week of June 12th through the 18th, 2022 as National Flag Week in Madison County, Kentucky, and urge all citizens to reaffirm the ideals of our county by displaying our American flag at their homes and throughout the country. Thank you all for being here. And today we have with us Deborah Parsons, Carol Heeman, and Eileen Leader. It's good to see you. And I got to see Jenny the other night. So would y'all like to come up and say a few words? Do we want to get a picture first, Jill? All right. How about we stand in the middle and we'll all get a picture?
Okay.
Court members, elected officials. Yeah, you get right here and I'll just kind of step in behind. How's that? Is that okay? I don't know about that. Probably a thorn between roses. I'll present this to you all. Okay?
Thank you.
And then you're all welcome. The mic is yours.
Okay.
Or-
I'm gonna present you my.
Okay.
Over there?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
Let's do it with the mic, that way that people that are watching.
Judge Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, today is Flag Day, and we were so pleased that we're allowed to present a flag again this year. We've done this for many years. The DAR here, Jamaica Bean chapter, feels like our country is way too important to fly an old tattered flag. So we present one to y'all every year in memory of those who have fought and died for this country and those who have served as those at home. So we are pleased to be able to present with you our new flag.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Here, I'll hand this to you, 'cause I don't have a lot of room up there.
Hey, Judge, while you're being immortalized there with the flag, I just want to say, the time when I was in the military, we deployed several times over to Germany, and I was always amazed when we were going across countryside, whether that was in Holland or through Germany from one end to the other. All these little towns that we went through, there was always people standing out on the streets with American flags. And that just always just struck me like such a symbol of freedom, even in when we were in Desert Storm and were deploying and going through what was, nothing basically in the middle of the desert. And when we go through some of these places, there would be children and stuff standing out with American flags, and I would just, it is truly a symbol of freedom, and it doesn't get the respect it should, but Old Glory stands for a reason.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom. Thank you all so much, and thank you all for your leadership in our community and what you all represent, what you stand for. So. Next on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 2022-04. This is the administrative code for 2022-2023. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning. So this is ordinance 2022-04, an ordinance to adopt the 2022-2023 administrative code. Whereas the Madison County Judge Executive and the Fiscal Court recognize that a personnel system which recruits and retains a qualified, motivated workforce is indispensable to the effective and efficient operation of the county government. And whereas it is essential to have policies and procedures in writing delineating all aspects of employment affected by said policies and procedures, and now therefore it be it ordained by the Madison County Judge Executive and the Madison County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky that the policies and procedures attached hereto shall be the system of personnel administration for the county, and that the policies and procedures may be waived, altered, or suspended only by a change of ordinance. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption.
Thank you, Morgan. You all have heard the second reading of 2022-04, our administrative code for 2022-2023. I need a motion and a second, please.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance 2022-04, the administrative code.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Just want to make a comment, Judge, not only on this ordinance, but on the others that we're going to see today, and I'm not going to repeat myself, I'm just going to say it once more. Through the year, as as things come up and things change, our ordinances are living documents. And there's times when we have to modify them to fit ours, what's going on in our workforce. And I'm very thankful that y'all have done a lot of work on these. And we certainly appreciate everything that you do, not just on this one, but on all of the ordinances.
Thank you.
Keeping them current. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I will say that I appreciate the court's willingness. I think the employee engagement survey that we did back at the first of the year really helped us identify what our needs are when it comes to our employees and what they're. And I really appreciate our employees for their participation in that, because it really gave us some valuable data and information to help us make sure that we are somewhat competitive, a competitive employer, because we do have some challenges. So, all right, I have a motion and a second. Before Robin gets on me, this is a second reading, so anybody here that would like to speak on behalf of this ordinance and the second reading of our admin code, now would be the time to come up to the mic. Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, second reading of ordinance 2022-05. This is our drug and alcohol-free workplace policy for 2022-2023.
An ordinance to adopt the 2022-2023 drug and alcohol-free workplace policy, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has established a drug and alcohol-free workplace policy, including but not limited to supervisors, full-time employees, part-time employees, off-site employees, contractors, and applicants who are representing or conducting business for the county. And whereas the Madison County Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace Policy is updated annually, and now therefore be it ordained by the Madison County Judge Executive and the Madison County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, does hereby approve the 2022-2023 Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace Policy. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption.
Thank you, Morgan. Do I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2022-05?
Make a motion to accept ordinance 2022-05.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Oh.
You didn't do your thing.
Yeah, this is a second reading, so is there anybody here that would like to speak on behalf of this?
Lee Burke wants to say something. He's only.
All right, seeing none, call the roll again.
Master Botkin?
Yes, again.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, thank you all. Next is ordinance 2022-06. This is our 2022-2023 Code of Ethics.
An ordinance to adopt the 2022-2023 Code of Ethics, whereas the proper operation of democratic government requires that a public official be independent and impartial, that government policy and decisions be made through the established process of government, that a public official not use public office to obtain private benefit, and that the public have confidence in the integrity of its government and public officials. And whereas the public judges its government by the way public officials and employees conduct themselves in the posts to which they are elected or appointed, and public confidence and respect for government can be promoted if every public official and employee, whether paid or unpaid, and whether elected or appointed, will uniformly treat all citizens with courtesy, impartiality, fairness, and equality under the law, and avoid both actual and potential conflicts between their private self-interest and the public interest. And whereas the officials of this county are committed to the operations of a county government that manifests the highest moral and ethical standards among its officers and employees. And whereas the Madison County Code of Ethics is updated annually, now therefore be it ordained by the Madison County Judge Executive and the Madison County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, does hereby approve the 2022-2023 Code of Ethics. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption.
Motion to approve ordinance 22-06, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2022-06. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, this will be the time at public comment for second reading. If anybody would like to speak on behalf of ordinance 2022-06. Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate it. Go have you a drink of water now. It's a lot. Yeah. Next, resolution 2022-73. This is the AOC lease agreement on the family court building. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning. Resolution 2022-73, a resolution to approve an estimate of reimbursements to be made by the Administrative Office of the Courts to Madison County Madison fiscal year 2023. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court agrees to office space in the Madison County Family Court Building to the Administrative Office of the Courts. Whereas the AOC agrees to reimburse the local government for the use of the Madison County Family Court Building and any expenses incurred listed in the agreement. And whereas the local government agrees to provide the AOC with annual accounting records to include expenses for the Family Court Building. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county to go into effect July 1, 2022.
Thank you, Jill. Do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2022-73?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Judge, this is a good contract. We are getting a $132,000, I believe is the number, for operating cost, and then the remainder to make a $648,753 contract they received. It's a very good contract. We're very thankful to have them to occupy that space.
Yep. And just for the court's knowledge, the $132,000 is estimated on the operating cost. So AOC comes in and actually does a year-end audit every year to see what actual expenses were of that building, and then if it meets the 132 too, then there's no money changes hands. But if it's more, then they would pay us the difference, and if it was less, then we would pay them back the difference. So just as a FYI. All right, any other discussion? We do have a motion and a second for resolution 2022-73. Call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, Jill. Next, resolution 2022-74. This is the employee classification schedule for 2022-2023. Not necessarily a dash there, right?
A resolution to approve the Madison County Annual Employee Classification Schedule for fiscal year 2022-2023, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has established an employee classification schedule and years of service for the benefit of all employees of the Fiscal Court to ensure fair and consistent wages for all job classifications, and whereas the employee classification schedule is updated annually, now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve the 2022-2023 employee classification schedule.
Court members, you've heard resolution 2022-74. I need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve 2022-74.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Judge, this is the schedule that we evaluate and pay our employees with. I think it's been working fairly well. It's just a kind of a guide that we use for the years of service, the evaluation that the employee receives, and they're promoted each year according to that. So I think it's a good schedule to go by.
Thanks, John. Any other discussion?
One of the things, Judge, that we when we started this several years ago, our intent was, I think, to show progress for our employees, that there were progressions, that you weren't always going to be at one step, at one pay. You know, as things increase in your time and your loyalty to the county continues, then those steps for the pay increases are there along the way, and I think that's a very good thing. It's a very good schedule. This is, you know, we've shown pay increases over the years. This is one of the best ones we've ever had. So,
Yep. Yeah, rewards for a good performance. You know, it's kind of what we set out to do. So, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, call the roll.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, Morgan. Next, Resolution 2022-75. This is the Bullpen Company Grant Writing Services Contract. A resolution approving a contractual service agreement between Madison County Fiscal Court and the Bullpen Company for grant writing and administration contractual consultant. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court wishes to secure grant writing services, and whereas the county has contracted with Bullpen Company in the past for grant writing services and is satisfied with the product the Bullpen Company provides. And whereas the county wishes to renew their contract with the Bullpen Company for grant writing services for 1 year beginning July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, not to exceed the amount of $50,000 per year, which is attached here to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-75, Judge.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Judge, the $50,000 contract sounds like a whole lot, but just on one grant, sometimes we receive more benefits than the $50,000. So this person is continuously looking for grants that will help our county throughout the year. And where we stay so busy, we can't just continuously look on grant writing funds from all organizations. This person stays on the ball all year long. I think it's well spent money.
Oh, it is, and I think that, you know, we have what we received in grants over the years is, I think speaks for itself. It's a great return on investment for us as a county. I think a lot of times people don't realize too how much work goes into actually applying, writing the grants, submitting the grants, and then you really the admin of the grant once you're awarded it, and you have to make sure that all the documentation, the paperwork, you know, all of your T's are crossed, your I's are audited, or I's are dotted. So that was a tongue twister there, wasn't it? And so there is a lot of work that goes into it. And my measure is how much we receive. And Jill actually showed me this morning, I don't remember the exact number, but she showed me this morning how much that we have received this past year, and it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars we've received in grants. So it is a really good return on investment. Any other comments, discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right, next is Resolution 2022-76. Chief,
Good morning.
hi buddy.
How are you all?
Good.
Resolution 2022-76, a resolution to approve a memorandum of agreement between Madison County Fiscal Court and Madison County Health Department. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, the county, and the Madison County Health Department, MCHD, desire to enter into a memorandum of agreement, MOU, to coordinate the Safety City program in collaboration with the Madison County Fire Department and other community partners in order to take a lead role in the operations of safety education training program at the facility. And whereas the county agrees to maintain the Safety City property and keep it in good repair, and to furnish utilities, insurance, janitorial maintenance services, phone, computer, and internet connectivity for facilities, and whereas the Madison County Health Department agrees that Madison County Health Department community health education staff will use the office for scheduled classes and other activities as needed, and whereas no payment shall be made by either party under the terms of the attached MOA, and whereas the duration of this MOA shall be for a period of 1 year from the date signed or until terminated by a participating party upon 30 days of written notice. Now therefore it be resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve to enter into the memorandum of agreement and authorize the judge executive and his or her designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-76?
Make a motion to approve 2022-76.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. We have Lloyd Jordison with us here today from the Madison County Health Department. It's good to have you, Lloyd.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I will say in the last 2 years with COVID, we've not had a lot of students be able to come through, and we're looking to the future and hoping that that's going to happen again. It hasn't sat fallow completely. EKU nursing program has used it as almost a staging area. We've also done we've been able to use it for some smaller classes. We've done some stop the bleed classes and things like that during this time. But the reality is that we couldn't get all the school children. Now we're looking towards this fall and hoping that some things can come together. But we also know the last time gas prices, well, they didn't get this high, but they were this high, the schools shut down, sending people out on the buses because they couldn't afford them. So I don't know what next fall is going to look like as far as students coming there, but we still have the EKU nursing students that do want to use it as a staging area. We've done videos for the schools when they were shut down. They've made some videos out there at Safety City that the schools can use for safety education. So it's not going to. Now the other thing too is that before COVID, we were working with the Madison County Fire Department, and they're using it as a training area also. And this has worked really well for us too. And so anyway, we do want to continue the MOU and continue to be a part of it, but we're also going to be flexible to make sure it's used in the very best way it can be used.
Thanks, Lloyd. Appreciate it.
We hope that the schools in the following year will allow the children to go back out there. There's nothing like the experience of seeing a firefighter face to face, and knowing that he's there to help you, and not being scared. And the programs that you teach them out there, there's just no price you can put on that. So we hope they go active.
And we have the sheriffs back here been very supportive, sending sheriff's folks out to be part of the education process. And I've even been asked, what are we going to get to do it? They're kind of excited about getting back doing it. But again, with COVID and some things like that, I got my mask on, ready to go, and we'll have to see where we go with all this. But been a great relationship through the years, and even during COVID, we have used it, not to its fullest potential, but we also want to be sure and work closely with the fire department because it's a good thing that's going on. So
I'd just like to say I appreciate you all working together under the circumstances and being flexible with the COVID situation. And you work good together as a team. The MOA is very important to have. Anytime that two groups work together, better things come out of it. So appreciate both.
Thanks, Lloyd. Chief, you good?
Yes, sir.
All right, we do have a motion and a second for resolution 2022-76. No further discussion, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Be safe, buddy. All right, next, resolution 2022-77. This is a Board of Adjustments appointment. A resolution for the appointment of Madison County Fiscal Court to the Madison County Board of Adjustments, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison County Board of Adjustments members. And whereas the current term for Keith Park is set to expire June 20th, 2022, and whereas Keith Park has proven his capability in serving as a Board of Adjustments board member and is willing to continue serving in this capacity. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Keith Park is fit for the position as Board of Adjustments member. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve Keith Park as a Madison County Board of Adjustments member. Need a motion and a second.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2022-77, the appointment or reappointment of Keith Park to the Adjustment Board.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Keith was appointed about 2 months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't very long ago.
To finish a term out, and he's done a good job, and so I'm willing to reappoint Keith to this position.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is resolution 2022-78. This is the Southern Madison Water District Board appointment. A resolution for the appointment of Madison County Fiscal Court to the Southern Madison Water District Board, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison Water District Board members, and whereas the current term for Leonard Bratcher is set to expire July 7th, 2022, and whereas Leonard Bratcher has proven his capability in serving as a Southern Madison Water District Board member and is willing to continue serving in this capacity. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Leonard Bratcher as fit for the position as board member of the Southern Madison Water District Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Leonard Bratcher as a Southern Madison Water District Board member. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, since Magistrate Robinson is not here, I'll go ahead and just speak a little bit about Mr. Bratcher. We're very fortunate to have a gentleman of his caliber over there on the water board. I don't know exactly how many years he has been there, but I know he's been there for several. And he's always done a good job over there. He's always been responsive to the court when we needed information and things like that. And we're very fortunate to have him to still be willing to serve on that board. So we appreciate that. And I know Ben does too. He knows Leonard. So thank you. Thank you, Leonard.
Thanks, Tom. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is Resolution 2022-79. This is the Detention Center 2022-2023 Policies and Procedure Manual. Hi, buddy.
Hi.
It's good
How
to
are you?
have you. Good to see you.
Thank you. This is an annual policy update and a resolution approving the 2022-2023 Madison County Detention Center Policy and Procedure Manual. Whereas Madison County Detention Center has developed and will maintain an organizational chart and operations manual. And whereas the organizational chart and operations manual are approved by the Madison County Fiscal Court and filed with the Kentucky Department of Corrections annually. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve the 2022-2023 Detention Center Policy and Procedure Manual and authorizes the Judge Executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county. Annual update, just some minor grammatical changes, nothing significant.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-79, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-79. Do we have any discussion?
So, Steve, I just want to say, I don't know who the author of this was, and maybe it was a combination of your team over there, but this document is very well written. And
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
you guys over there. There was a few minor things that we saw that we've contacted, and that's been taken care of, and we certainly appreciate all the work that goes into it.
It was a
Again,
team effort, but I'll pass that on to all of them.
Again, it's another living document, you know, things change as time changes, and you've done a great job over there, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, I'd also like to say thank you for you and your team and what you do. It's not only approved by the fiscal court, but it's approved by the Department of Corrections, and anything that's, you have to follow under their guidelines. Everything you do at the Department of Corrections. So if it's meeting their standards, you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I've got a great team.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you. Next, Resolution 2022-80. This is the Emergency Operations Center Foundation Waterproofing Bid Award. Dustin, good morning.
Morning. Yes, Resolution 2022-80, a resolution awarding the bid for the Emergency Operations Center Foundation waterproofing. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve all bids for projects in accordance with the Administrative Code. Whereas the Madison County Emergency Management Agency, EMA/CSEP, has the funding to complete foundation waterproofing in the EOC, and bids were requested for this project. And whereas the bid notice was properly posted, whereas one bid was received within the specific time in the bid posting from Circle G Excavating LLC, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court wishes to award the bid and enter into a contract for the EOC foundation waterproofing with Circle G Excavating LLC. Now therefore it be resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and authorizes the Judge Executive and or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Make a motion to approve 2022-80.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2022-80. Dustin, when you read that, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth whereas,
Yes, sir.
it says on mine it says Madison County MAC set wishes. Does that need to say Madison County Fiscal Court? Just so you read it as Madison County Fiscal Court, but mine says the MAC set.
It does. Yes, apologize.
No.
You're
Does it
correct.
need to say Fiscal Court or?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure
I
for the
read it as
record,
Fiscal
when
Court.
we file
Apologize.
these resolutions, that it's correct.
Yes.
So, okay.
That was my.
No, no worries. All right, so we have a motion and a second.
Dustin, can you explain a little bit, what, this waterproofing includes?
Yeah, so we, pretty much a year or two after we moved into the current renovated building, we've been experiencing some water drainage issues along the wall that butts up against to South Keeneland Drive. We see water coming down the walls. It's actually being absorbed into the drywall. Some of the drywall tape has actually been peeling off in some of those locations, and we notice it basically all the way around along that whole side. When we did another project, our sewer project, some time ago, I think we identified why said water is not being drained properly, and it's actually then coming into the building. Some of the drainage pipes were not quite installed correctly, and they're full of dirt instead of being encased around in rock, and allowing that water to go along the wall and then get to the drain pipes and then be drained away from the structure. So that is part of what we're doing. They're going to have to dig out all that entire from top to bottom along South Keeneland Drive. We're going to have to put in drain pipes at many different levels throughout that, as well as backfill correctly with rock so that continues to drain properly. They're also going to redo the waterproofing on the actual concrete on the outside. And then once all that is complete, the drywall on the inside is going to be removed and replaced. So
Insulation.
the insulation, so that's back to where it should be throughout the entire. So it's going to be, the first part of it is getting the outside correct, so that the water's moving away, and then we'll come into the and that's all part of this, but we'll come into the inside and get the drywall replaced and the insulation replaced.
Sounds like a major project. That was my
It's
first question.
it's a bit of a
Well, and it's called waterproofing, but it's really more than that, because you gotta
Yeah.
replace all the things that are broken inside, basically, too,
Yeah.
so. But
Yeah.
there's no sense in replacing the things inside until you know you've got your water problem fixed.
yeah.
Dig out that front wall and reseal it to stop the water from coming through.
Yep, yep.
Tile it.
Tile it right, exactly. Tile it right so it's drained off the side of the hill. I think what we're experiencing is just, the water as it comes off the road, and off the apron of the fire station, it kind of all funnels right down that way. And we're also going to redo some of the landscape so that it also,
Yeah,
water on
create a
top,
swale. Yeah.
pushes down in the correct way as well.
Yep.
Tim, are you having any issues with the fire station?
No, we're all on the second level.
On the same
He's on top of the mountain.
He's on top of the grade.
Yeah, if he's having water problems, we're all in trouble, right?
Yeah. We got bigger issues.
All right.
But yeah, unfortunately, so it's not the above grade where our offices are all below grade is where we're seeing the challenges.
What was the bid on that, Dustin?
400.
$407,050.
Thank you.
Yeah, 407,000.
I had a little bit of sticker shock when I first read that. It's like, my Lord, that's a lot of money for what we're talking about. But after talking, I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you about it.
No,
After talking to the judge about it and going back and looking at the scope of work, there's a lot that has to be done over there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the chief's dumping all his water on you. It's just a big no-go. It takes a lot to correct that.
Right.
Well, and it is that building's pretty long. They'll be digging out from basically I told you, Tom, this morning, but the fire department's driveway, basically all the way across that building. It's a pretty long run.
Yeah, and there's also a retaining wall that they're gonna have to make sure that stays secure, while they're doing it, and then obviously get it back right once they replace the fill and go through that, so.
Well, again, this is a situation where, and we're thankful for you anyway, but we're thankful that we have CSEP over there to assist us with this. That would be a huge expense on the county.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Barker?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
thank you. All right, next, resolution 2022-81. This is the annual standing order to pre-approve reoccurring expenses for fiscal year 2022-2023. Good morning again, Jill.
Good morning. A resolution for the Madison County Fiscal Court to pre-approve certain recurring expenses for fiscal year 2022-2023, whereas pursuant to KRS 68.275, the Madison County Fiscal Court may adopt an order to pre-approve the payments of monthly payroll and utility expenses, and whereas no other expenses shall be pre-approved to this subsection without the written consent of the state local finance officer, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, in accordance with state law, hereby orders the recurring expenses for payroll and utilities listed in the attached annual standing order to be paid when due. And whereas it is hereby acknowledged the standing order shall expire after July 1st of each fiscal year, and no more payments designated in the standing order shall be pre-approved unless a new order is adopted by the Madison County Fiscal Court according to the provisions of KRS 68.275. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the Judge Executive and/or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Jill. Do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2022-81?
Make a motion to approve 2022-81.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barker?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Jill. All right, next, resolution 2022-82, Madison County ALC Courthouse MOU First Addendum. A resolution approving a first addendum to the memorandum of understanding between the Madison County Fiscal Court and the Administrative Office of the Courts. Whereas KRS 26A.090 to 26A.168 governs the provision, development, and operation of facilities for the use of the Commonwealth of Kentucky Court of Justice. And whereas the Madison County Kentucky Public Properties Corporation has been established pursuant to KRS 58.180 and KRS 273.161 through 273.390 inclusive on October 26, 2021. And whereas the corporation desires to be made a party to the MOU between Madison County Fiscal Court and the Administrative Office of the Courts entered into on May 1st, 2021. And whereas the county and the ALC wish to amend the MOU with the first addendum to add the Madison County Kentucky Properties Corporation as a party to the MOU. And whereas the county, the ALC, and the corporation mutually agree to the terms of the first addendum, which is attached here to this resolution. All other terms and conditions of the MOU remain the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the Judge Executive and/or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county to retroactively go into effect May 16th, 2022.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-82, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Barker?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right, next, resolution 2022-83. This is Madison County ALC Courthouse MOU Second Addendum. A resolution approving a second addendum to the memorandum of understanding between Madison County Fiscal Court, the Madison County Kentucky Public Properties Corporation, and the Administrative Office of the Courts. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court and the Administrative Office of the Courts entered into a MOU on May 1st, 2021 to seek funding for the construction of a new Madison County Judicial Center in accordance with the Kentucky Court of Justice's Rules of Administrative Procedure Part 10. And whereas the county and the ALC recognize their continued cooperation is vital for the construction, maintenance, and operations of a new judicial center project, which benefits the people of Madison County and the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And whereas the MOU was amended with the first addendum on May 16, 2022 to add the Madison County, Kentucky Public Properties Corporation as a party. And whereas the 2022 General Assembly has authorized additional use allowance for the project. And whereas the parties agree that the maximum use allowance as identified in Section 1 of the MOU dated May 1st, 2021 is now $1,415,700, and wish to approve the second addendum to the said MOU, which is attached here to this resolution. All other terms and conditions of the MOU remain the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county to go into effect July 1st, 2022. I need a motion and a second to approve resolution 2022-83.
Judge, I make a motion to approve resolution 2022-83.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So Judge, would you just refresh our public's memory on what the $1.4 million will be used for?
So, so the way the AOC and the legislature approves their funding is more on an annual year, and so they've increased their annual expenditure for this capital project to $1.415,700,000 versus what was originally approved, and I think it was like close to it. It seems like it was 1.1 something. But yes, 1.2. Obviously due to, as long as we've been working on this capital project, which you all know, prices have gone up, and since we became a capital project, they've increased their basically yearly allotment to make that payment and pay off the construction note. Does that make sense? Did I explain that? Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Which is on the Chase building,
Which is on this building.
starting here.
It's on this building,
So there was a $200,000 increase on this one.
on this capital project,
Right.
yeah. So the way this worked out is the courthouse itself, the building we're sitting in, it's the project that is considered an AOC capital project.
Right.
The Chase Bank building is something that we're doing separate of that capital project.
Right. So the total on this project was like 12 million.
Mhm. And this will take it up to, it'll be like 14 million or something, you
Right.
know.
Good.
But they'll take that, but their use allowance is basically how much that they're allowed to max to that amount to make that yearly bond payment, basically.
Right.
But Judge, also, I think we need to make the comment that what we're out on the Chase Bank building is gonna be reimbursed by the AOC for their use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
But this is two different projects.
Right.
I don't wanna get them confused.
Right.
This, what we're talking about today is just this courthouse building, and it's a capital project. The Chase Bank building, we're actually we're leasing that back to them, plus they're paying for all the upgrades to that building. It's totally separate. It's not, going through the capital project program. When you heard it referred to the Administrative Procedures Part 10, that's the AOC's guidelines of capital project. It spells out how the capital projects all work. There's the PDB, which is our Plan Development Board, which is made up of like myself, Judge Shepard, and Danny Rhodes, which is the facilities manager. We meet once a month to talk about that project. That board actually approves the plans, working with the judges and the architects and the construction manager. And it's an open meeting. I mean, it's a public meeting every month.
It doesn't really state in this, but was this increase due to materials, or they just expanded their scope?
Probably just a hair of both. I would say more on materials than expanding their scope, because we were trying to be proactive in planning for this facility, and there potentially being a third circuit judge, which you got approved. So we're actually, obviously, people that are following the campaign cycle right now, we do have a race for the a third seat. Jenny, you have to help me out. 25th Circuit. What's the circuit? Do
So
you
we're
remember
the
the name?
25th Circuit.
25th Circuit.
It's a
yeah.
third circuit judge, well, technically family court is circuit two, but
Mhm.
it's general jurisdiction, so it's a third circuit court seat.
Yeah, for Clark and Madison.
Yes.
So we had already really planned for that third judge one day. We didn't know it was gonna happen that quick when we were planning for that, but when we were doing the design, we were planning for it. So I think this is really more because of costs, logistics, waiting. I mean, some materials are hard to get right now, and you have to wait for months to get them. So.
Good.
But this MAX was all approved through the legislature. I mean, they gave that approval. So. Good discussion. Anything else we need to add? Anything? Yes, ma'am.
Is this for the renovation of this building?
Yes, ma'am. Yep, and it's a complete renovation. Circuit court, the AOC will only occupy this building in the future, once this is all done. So, yep. And there's a little bit of an addition, on the side as well. Yep. Any other questions? You have any? Good. Good question. All right. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Buckton?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
All right, we have, next is personnel in the Planning and Development Office.
Yes, we'd like the court's permission to fill a vacancy in the Planning and Development Office for administrative assistant. Our interview committee was Chris Israel, Robin Payne, and myself. And based on those interviews, we'd like to recommend that we hire Jennifer Meredith at the rate of $14 an hour with a start date of June 22nd.
All right. Upon Bert's recommendation, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckton?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Bert. Next, personnel on the golf course. Hi, Gary.
I'd like to get the court's approval to hire James Jones as a seasonal outside cart attendant at $9.50 an hour, beginning June 15th.
Make a motion to approve hiring James Jones.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second to hire James Jones for an outside cart attendant at $9.50 an hour beginning on June 15th.
Right.
Tomorrow.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckton?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, personnel in the road department. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Road Department would like to hire Harold Doug Roberts as a part-time CDL truck driver. Starting salary would be $16 an hour, and his start date would be 6/27/2022, contingent upon completing pre-employment screening.
All right.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to hire Harold Roberts on the contingency of screening at $16 an hour for the road department.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'm always glad to see you come, Scott, because I know how short employees you are down there, and so usually bring a good one, and I know you've interviewed him, and perspectives are really good on this person, so approving his drug screening and things will go well for him. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
How are you doing down there for people now?
This is a part-time gentleman. We actually had another 2-week notice put in this morning. We lost a real good mowing young gentleman to Columbia Gas this morning. So they were able to pay quite a bit more, so we're not making much ground.
Well, we still short 8.
Yeah, 8.
All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Buckton?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Thanks.
Yes. Thanks. Appreciate it, Scott. All right, next, judge report. Just got a few announcements. Do want to make a note that Whitehall Park Lake will be stocked with 1,200 catfish today. So I don't know if anybody's ever seen them stocked. You been out there, Raj? Seen them stocked? It's pretty neat to watch all those fish get stocked in the lake. Also, there's a father-daughter duo, Lewis and Donna Lamb, are hosting a free jamming on the porch event at the Russell Acton Folk Center every Thursday night in June and July from 7 to 9. Bring a chair and enjoy the music. Berea Parks and Recreation is having a dive-in movie night featuring The Little Mermaid at the Berea City Pool Friday, June 17th, so that's this coming Friday. Gates open at 7:30 for swimming, and the movie starts at dark. This Saturday night, Patty A. Clay, or the Pack-a-Ball is what's known, Baptist Health Richmond will be hosting its 51st annual Pack-a-Ball. That starts at 9 p.m. at the EKU Center for the Arts. This year's theme is A Whole New World. Visit the Patty A. Clay Auxiliary PACA Facebook page for more information. Richmond Parks and Recreation will be having a free swim night at Paradise Cove Aquatic Center on Friday, June 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. If you'd like to reserve a pavilion or have questions about our parks, please call Battlefield Golf Club at 859-624-8005. Also, there's some Juneteenth events coming up this weekend. The NAACP Juneteenth Celebration and Health Fair, Saturday, June 18th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at First United Methodist Church in Richmond. It does note that masks are required. And then also Battle of Richmond Juneteenth commemoration, Sunday, June 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. at Mount Zion Christian Church in Richmond. And then Madison County Courthouse and its related offices will be closed on Monday, June 12th, Monday, June 20th for the Juneteenth holiday. Offices will reopen on Tuesday, June 21st at 8 a.m. Comments from magistrates. Raj, start with you today.
About the only comment I got is everybody knows it's Flag Day, and this flag is flying to show that we are a free country. And I've always felt, by not being in the military, I didn't serve my country like I could have. But in another way, I was probably fortunate that I didn't have to go. But I know Tom has served well in the military, but I appreciate everybody that's done their service to make our flag fly so we can be a free nation. That's all I got.
And I'll just have to add to that, Raj. You might not have served in the military, but you sure have served this community in a big way. So you need to be proud of that.
Thank you.
John?
Judge, I've been kind of busy this week. Of course, all of us have. I received a call last week about a dead deer being in the side of the road next to a lady's house, and I went out and took my pickup truck and loaded it up and hauled it off for her because the hot weather, she knew it was going to start smelling. So I got that removed. We've had some mowing and vegetation control done down on Phelps, Stony Run, and Ford Road. Got a call from the lady down there. I'm sure Scott did too, and she said it was really overgrown. And I tried to explain to her we were running a little bit behind because of the employee shortage down at the road department. We just don't have enough employees to run our mowers and get around like we usually do. So we're needing half a dozen more employees down there to run some mowers and stuff. We also did a little repair work on one of the creek banks on the side of Stony Run and got it shored up. Thanks Scott for that. You may have noticed some orange pipe being running down in the Stony Run area, Brookstown, Phelps Road. That is Spectrum running their internet tubing to try to get some broadband internet in the area, and it will expand. They're going to the out forest areas first and working their way back in. So the outlying areas you'll see service begin first. With the strong winds this past week, we had a couple trees down, and Scott was very helpful on getting those removed. I got a call, I think it was on a weekend night, 7 p.m. It wasn't even in my district, but I called Scott and told him, I said, we probably got a tree to move in the morning. He said, no, I'm on my way out there right now. So my above and beyond award goes to Scott Shepherd this week. So appreciate all you do for the road department and the county, Scott. On Friday, they held a Hope's Wings Gala down at Chenault Venue. Had a pretty decent crowd. They're raising money for the domestic violence Hope Swing shelter out there. And so I appreciate everyone that supported that. That's about all I got, Judge.
And it's not too late to support it.
It's not. You
Yeah,
can send your
you
check
can
in.
support Hope Swings
At any
every
time.
day of the year, so. Tom?
A few things. First, I also want to thank Scott. I hemmed him up on Friday, and we drove around through the district looking at projects that I had received calls on, and, you know, hopefully we'll start making some repairs on some of those things soon. And then we've got several more that we're still investigating, even to see if they're on the county's right-of-ways or if they're roads that are still in the county system. So just be patient on those. We're working on it. There will be a road repair either this afternoon, hopefully, or maybe tomorrow at the latest over on the Cal East, coming from Duncan and heading south down there. There's a place there where the water's washed the roadway and it's caving in, Judge. And I talked to Brandon about it a couple times, but he called me this morning, said that they're gonna try to get out this afternoon and put rock in there and fill that in. Ben's not here, but he also mentioned that they're replacing a culvert out on 421, which is out in the First District. So just want to let them know. I think that fellow's name was Parker. Steve Parker. So they're doing some work out there. So, and it's right past the curve for the turn off for Red Lick. So be careful of that. That's a really dangerous spot out there. So they're working out there. Be careful. We're also, Brandon has scheduled the state for later this week. Hopefully that schedule holds up to start doing mowing and cutting back the brush on 595 down on Poozy Ridge. So just be aware they'll be down there working in that area. You know, one of the things that John alluded to about the spectrum and them laying out the cable in the RDOF areas, we need to just reassure that everyone, Judge, has gone onto the county website and has gone onto our Connect portion and filled out the form and identify whether or not you're getting internet service or not, whether you're getting broadband service. So, you know, they may be coming down, but remember, we contracted with another company that's going to be doing very similar work. But a lot of that hinges as far as the verification portion of it, and you going onto the county's website and filling out the form verifying whether or not it's just going to help us identify all of those locations so nobody gets missed during this process. You know, worst thing that I see is we get to the end of it and it's all done and somebody calls and says, oh, well, I don't have broadband. We don't want that to happen. So please help us out and go on to the county site and fill that out and let's get that done. Also, the state next week will begin blacktopping on 75, so you know what that means. Stay off of 75. You don't have to be on it. That's going to be bad enough as it is. But they are starting next week on that. And also, Brandon said that they have gotten the majority of the bridges cleaned out in Madison County. I can't confirm that about your old district, it's just what he told me. But they're going to have to rent some equipment for the bridge that I've been asking for a while now, which is the Silver Creek down on Highway 52. And so he did say that they're getting ready to lease some equipment to go out there and clean that out. So I know I've been promising this to the people that live down there for months now, but they're coming. So just hang in there. They're going to come down there and get that bridge cleaned out hopefully soon. And I want to thank Scott and them for the work that they've done down on the Wallace Mill. That was one of the areas that I had gotten phone calls on, and I always love it when they're proactive, Judge, and they go down there and they do something, then I find out about it afterwards. Thank you, Scott. Make me look good down there, so I appreciate you going down there and taking care of that. And there's a couple other projects down there to be knocked out also. And last, Judge, if anyone needs me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Thank you, Tom. Hey, Chief, you might have to go get your concrete saw and cut that door out a lot bigger, because I don't know if Scott's head will be able to fit. I don't know if Scott's head will be able to fit out of this room by the time this court meeting's over. Yeah. Good work, Scott. Yeah.
It's all my people,
Yeah.
it's not me.
Counselor, you have anything today? Kenny?
No, sir.
Sheriff? Good? Good. All right. Comments from department heads? Scott?
If I could make a quick one. I just finalized everything this morning, and East Barker Lane off of 1016 is gonna be closed the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. We're doing a total bridge replacement,
So Dustin's worked with me. We're gonna get reader boards down there this morning, but we're gonna demolish the bridge on Tuesday, replace it on Wednesday, and have it back open hopefully by Thursday afternoon.
Okay.
Good.
Scott, if you don't care, since Ben's not here today, would you care just to send him your schedule in an email?
Yeah.
Or he's under the weather, which he, more than likely, Ben's watching us right now, so everybody smile, say cheese, I guess, but just make sure he has that information. That'd be good for him. Any other department heads? All right, comments from the audience? Sure.
We're seeing on media all over the country, the fentanyl abuse is becoming catastrophic. Is that affecting our area as much as it is other parts of the country? And if so, what can we do about it?
Sheriff and I both could address that. Certainly I see it in the jail, and Sheriff sees it on the roads and on the streets and in our communities. And we do have numerous task force that address our drug issue, and certainly in the jail population. We've educated our staff, and we do try to find all of the drugs and address the overdose issues. The Narcan use, we're using 40, 50, 60 units a month in the jail. Have we addressed it? We've addressed some of the issues of the drug problem.
What about the sale of it, the illegal sale of it in this community?
That's something I'd let the sheriff address.
The drug problem is an epidemic. Our county attorney, our Commonwealth attorney, Madison County Sheriff's Office, Richmond Police Department, Brea Police Department, Kentucky State Police. It is probably the top priority of all the crimes committed. Our detention center, it's overpopulated, and 85% of the folks that are incarcerated, locked up there, is somehow, somewhat, some way drug-related crimes that's been committed. Whether thefts, home invasions, domestic, it all comes from our drug epidemic. Now, you mentioned fentanyl. When you talk about fentanyl, when you talk about cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, it is a business that is controlled nationwide by the cartels. Laws have been passed through the years through the help of our prosecution, other police agencies, the health department, all these agencies has combined to try to keep and make our laws as stiff as they can be, but we don't have the facilities nationwide to put those folks in jail and keep them there. Then separate those folks and get them help for a drug problem. And make them, once they get out, to make them better citizens, where they're doing what they need to do. Our commitment, the Madison County Sheriff's commitment, my commitment as a sheriff here in Madison County, since I've been in office, we have 3 people right now that's assigned to do nothing, 3 deputies that's assigned to do nothing else but fight drugs. And that is a HIDTA drug task force. And that's made up of Richmond Police Department, the Sheriff's Department with 3, Kentucky State Police with 2, and Brea Police Department. Then in turn, we have 1 at the Madison County Sheriff's Office from the help of this fiscal court. About 5 or 6 years ago, that we hired a retired state police officer with all kinds of expertise in the drug field to put him on what he was already on when he retired, is the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, the office in Lexington. And he works out of that office, and that's all over central Kentucky. Him and the people that make up that task force, they are really, really active every day working that task force. Then in turn, we have two other deputies. One's a K-9 officer. The only thing they do is answer any calls that comes into the Madison County Sheriff's Office on the tip line. Whatever we get, they go out, they investigate, they look at it, they either pass it over to the DEA, they take it on into our HIDA task force, or they work it themselves. And then the other thing that we do, we have 5 K-9s that we've invested in. They're apprehension dogs, and they're also drug dogs that can sniff for drugs. And that's played a big role. We also share our dogs with the Richmond Police Department, with Berea. Even though each agency has one, we have 5. So every shift that we work, we have a K-9 on duty. And that's the commitment we've made. And about a year ago, Homeland Security opened an office in Lexington. And they came to us wanting one of our deputies to be part of that task force. So we have one on that as well. Our commitment is to fight the drug problem, which is an epidemic. We do it each and every day. We work through our county attorney, our Commonwealth attorney, our U.S. attorney's office, and it's something that goes unnoticed. But this fiscal court has made money adjustments for us to fight this each and every day. And I applaud them, and I applaud our prosecutors that have to deal with this problem. And like I said, it's not a problem, it's an epidemic. We've lost way too many souls through the poison of drugs. And we take it very seriously, and we fight it each and every day.
The fentanyl is so lethal, and a lot of kids are being affected. Very young children that you would think would not even know what it was, and they're dying because they're exposed once, and that's a pretty high price to pay. And I was just wondering if our community could be involved in doing anything to help get rid of this curse that's being inflicted on our children.
Yeah, I appreciate the questions, Deborah. You know, we've seen this since this court's been in office together for quite some time, that the effects this has on our community. And this drug epidemic doesn't discriminate. And something we invested in a few years ago, and I hate to say it, I don't want to just throw blame on COVID for everything, but COVID did get in the way of this. But we had really put a focus on a prevention program, and the 3 governments and the school system all really sort of partnered together. Our law enforcement agencies, our fire departments at all levels, we started a Too Good for Drugs program in the school system. And it was a 10-week curriculum. Back in my day, it was called Just Say No to Drugs. It was the DARE program. Well, this was a Too Good for Drugs program, and it was a really good curriculum. And we were, I think we started in the 6th grade, and we were getting ready to move it to maybe the 6th and 8th, and we were going to move it into maybe 9th grade. But then COVID hit, and it sort of shut everything down, and you didn't have in-classroom schooling and stuff like that. So, but prevention is a big, I think, component for our future. It's not a short-term fix. I think prevention is a long-term fix, but I think it's much needed. We're having some conversations right now about getting that back implemented in our school system. So we're trying to hit it from a lot of different, and trying to invest in programs to hit it from a lot of different directions. But one thing is factual. We're not going to incarcerate our way out of this drug epidemic. It's not working. And so with maybe help of our legislative body at our state level and the state elected officials making some changes through jail reform, criminal justice reform, something that would really help statewide, I think is an avenue that we need to take.
Steve?
Yeah.
I asked you some time back, when they get out, how long are they out before they come back? And I think you told me 2 to 3 weeks they're usually back.
It varies, Roger, but our recidivism rate is about 80%. It's actually gone down a little bit, but 8 out of every 10 that we release either have already been in jail before or will come back.
One of the questions that you asked, Deborah, is what can the public do? And I'll just give you a really good example of this. I was sitting at a gas station one day, and a gentleman pulls up, and he's not pumping gas. He's out filling his windshield, and he's doing this, and while I'm getting gas and standing there, my wife's getting a drink inside. I see another car pull up, and he hands something out. I called the sheriff's department, and the sheriff dispatched with his K-9 units over there. On that, while I'm sitting there, they show up, and so that that's a first step and a key to it. If you see something doesn't look right, it's not right, and that's what the sheriff's department's there for. That's what his people are for. Call them and report those kind of things. The HIDA test where he's talking about that have all of our police agencies involved in that. They're more involved with what he's talking about at the cartel level and the higher levels to see if they can't stop some of that from coming into Kentucky. But we have people that are looking for street level issues, and the sheriff will send his people out there in a heartbeat to deal with that. So if you see something don't look right, call them, let them know about that. That's one of the first steps to it right there.
To answer your question specific, give us tips. If you see something that doesn't look right, call, let someone know. We don't know unless people let us know. And it's clandestine when it's confidential. One thing that is troublesome when you've been in this business 40-something years like I have, when someone says, we've lost the war on drugs, you're wasting your time. Fentanyl, all these drugs are coming in. That's true in certain aspects. But can you imagine this country if all the police agencies believe that and we just quit? We quit law enforcement on the drug trafficking. People would be laying in the streets from overdoses. If we don't keep hitting it each day hard, this country is going to be in trouble. We can't give up what we're doing each and every day, and that's plugging along. You'll get several little drug traffickers, and the people say, well, you don't ever get the big ones. Well, we have got the big ones, and we're going to continue to get the big ones. But there's so many little ones that you have to get before you get to the big. So we can't give up. We have to keep right on each and every day. And, when you start averaging a county like Madison, averages 50 to 60 overdose deaths a year, that's serious business. We can't quit. We cannot stop the pursuit of trying to get these drug traffickers, however small or however big they are, off the streets.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. It's a great conversation. Next on the agenda is pay the claims and approve the transfers. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes. Our next meeting is June 28, 2022. It'll be right back here in the Madison County Fiscal Courtroom. That'll be at 9:30 again on June 28, 2022. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Just Taylor?
Yes. Thank you all. Appreciate everybody.